Hi, my name's John. Welcome to part 4 of the review of this Artec 250 amp MIG Inverter welder. We've got the machine set up with 0.6mm wire in. I'm going to leave the 0.6mm wire in and do some welding on some thin gauge material between 0.8 and 1mm, which is like car bodywork, car sill, car chassis leg repair work. What I'm going to be doing, the welder, it's got a 32 amp plug on because I want to use it at full power. You can use it on partial power up to 150 amps on a 13 amp supply. I've got an adapter lead here. Which takes the welder from a 32 amp plug to a 13 amp plug. I'm going to do all the tests on the 13 amp plug. Right, we'll plug it into 13 amps, turn it on. I'll fix the camera in and show you the sort of material we're going to be welding. Got a simple lap joint set up here in 1mm steel. That's quite a common joint on car repair work. We're going to weld along there. Once we start welding, you'll hear the noise the welder makes. It makes a noise like crackling bacon. That's the sort of noise you need a MIG welder to make when it's working properly. That's the setting I'm using with a 0.6 wire to weld this 1mm plate, and we're using a 13 amp supply. So that's on 1, 2, 3, 4 on the voltage, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the wire speed. The amperage you can get depends on the thickness of the wire, how much current the wire can actually carry. Just trim the end of your wire off. If you look at the weld, it's gone right through, but it hasn't put a big build-up of weld on the back of the weld. Just enough penetration, 100% penetration. The weld looks quite pretty, not too much build-up on it. Right through, but not excessive. It's not blowing holes in, but it's going right through. That's a nice weld. This is quite a popular weld in the motor trade, body work, what they call a plug weld. We've got a hole drilled in one piece. It's held tight to that piece, and you fill the hole in with weld. It joins the two together. Turn it over so you can see what sort of penetration it's got. You see it's right through, but it hasn't actually blown a hole in it. You get people saying how strong is a MIG weld. Well, that's a 6mm plug weld. It's not welded all the way around. It's just one 6mm plug weld. You've just seen us weld it. I'm fairly heavy, and that's taking my weight, no problem at all. So that's one 6mm plug weld. I'll take it off, I'll leave the camera running, and I'll show you it is just one 6mm plug weld. There you go, see that? One 6mm plug weld. I don't know which way it will take to stop that weld. I mean, I'm trying there. Anyway, just a bit daft, carry on. Do 3 weld beads. I'll do one with a wire feed set right, one with a wire feed too low, and one with a wire feed too high. Right, so clearly it'll weld 1mm plate, no problem at all. One thing I don't like about it is the voltage control is infinitely adjustable. I have a Megatronic 180 at work, and that goes up, I think it's got 7 steps, and on welding cars with 0.8 wire you want between 3 and 4. You can't get between 3 and 4, it's either 3, which is slightly too cold, or 4, which is a little bit hot. But with the inverter it's adjustable infinitely. Quite often when you're welding cars, you might need to weld something a little bit thicker. I've got some 2mm plates here. That will be like sort of heavy chassis repair work. 2.153mm. I think the 0.6 wire will be pushing it just a little bit. Well, what I'll do, I'll leave the 0.6 wire in. I'll leave it on a 13 amp supply and we'll turn it up and see how we get on welding heavier stuff with 2mm plate. This is a lap joint on 2mm plate, still using 0.6mm wire, still using a 13 amp supply. We've got a couple of tacks on it. These are the settings I've been using to weld the 2mm plate. The voltage is on 5. Is it 5 or 6? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the wire is on 8.5, nearly 9. I think that's about the limit for using 0.6 wire. Right, I'd just like to demonstrate how fast the wire is actually coming out of this torch to weld that 2mm plate. Now this is 0.6 wire. So it's really coming out, so what you're doing, you're wasting wire. If you have a small amount of welding to do, you'll just carry on and use the thin wire. But if there's any amount of it to do, I'll change to 0.8. Right, we've proved that the 0.6mm wire will weld 2mm plate at a push. What we'll do now, we'll take it out, we'll put some 0.8 in and weld some heavier stuff, some box section, like fabrication sort of work. I'm going to take the 0.6mm reel off and put some 0.8 on. I've shown you how to install the wire. I'll do it again, it won't do any harm. To take it out, you cut the end off, make sure you've got a clean end. Loosen off your clamp, loosen off your wire feed. Be careful that you don't let go of the end of the wire. Once you let go of it, there's a hole in the side of the reel there, you put the wire through. Right, so take that off. Put it back in the box. Here's it to store it somewhere dry. It's got a copper coating on which will stop rust to a certain degree, but once a wire goes rusty it's scrap. Before I put our 0.8mm wire in, we need to take off the 0.6 tip. Just unscrews. Right, we've got one roll of 0.8 wire. Just drops onto there. Right, so we've got our roll of wire mounted. There's a little bit of drag on, so it won't unwind itself. We need to change the roller. There's a roller in there, drive roller. This one's set up at the minute for 0.6 wire. You simply take it off, that unscrews, roller pulls off. 0.6 groove and a 0.8 groove, we'll line the 0.8 groove up. You also supply with a 1mm roller. We'll be using the 1mm wire next. That just slides onto a cable like that. That nut secures it. Right, being careful not to lose the end of the wire. Cut the end off so you've got a nice clean straight end. Goes through the guide. Over the top of the roller and then starts into the liner. close our idler down, a little bit of spring tension on, we'll power it up. Well, we've got no tip in. Here it is. Point your tip goes straight on. Screws in. Just a little nip on it. That's it ready to weld. Be careful you don't let go of the end of the wire. Once you let go of it, like that, shite, look what happens. Right, we want it to catch it, but you can appreciate. Right, so all you do now, you just scrap the bit you've dropped,